My 15-year-old self was glad he saw it in the theater.
What about your middle-aged self?
Sure.
Welcome to the Tairimo Boys podcast. I'm your host, Cody. With me in second chair is the boy who gets a flawless victory anytime he goes and beats up an entire daycare. It's Jeremy.
Flawless every time.
With me in third chair is the boy who'd lose his very first Mortal Kombat match in record time. It's Ryan.
Don't bring up bad memories.
So someday you'll win, Ryan. Someday.
Ugh.
Today we'll be continuing our Mortal Kombat streak with the second Mortal Kombat 2 movie, Annihilation, commonly known as the worst Mortal Kombat movie. This movie followed the very first one we mentioned in our very first review. That movie has kind of a nostalgia charm to it. This movie, we'll talk about it. But this movie is known for being like quite bad and kind of ruined not only Mortal Kombat movies, but also video game movies as a whole for a really long time.
You could say it annihilates them.
Stop the bad puns. It annihilated them. There you go.
Annihilated my patience watching this movie. That's for sure.
Yeah, so this movie, it's 95 minutes long. It kind of felt like it was dragging on near the end. At least that's how I felt. I do want to mention, too, starting off, that this movie had a $30 million budget, while the first one only had a $20 million budget. So they upped the budget by 50%. But even then, it feels like they did make some improvements on it, but at the same time, like the CGI might have gotten worse.
I think they definitely cut from the CGI budget.
And if you didn't watch our very first review, that was one of our main critiques about the very first movie. So, let's get into it. Jeremy, what were your first thoughts?
I have never watched this movie in one whole sitting. So I was not particularly excited to see this. But I had to do it for the fans.
What'd you think?
I still did not sit through it entirely. If that tells you anything, we'll just leave it at that for now.
Ryan, what were your first thoughts?
This movie took away my will to live.
I'll be over there in a minute to finish you.
Finish him.
Don't worry, I'm on it.
I hope you know my fatality involves pummeling the nuts.
All right, Johnny Cage.
Treating your sack like one of those hang down punching bags.
A speed bag.
Alright, so for my first thoughts, I'm going to deviate a little bit from you guys. Is this a good movie? No. Is it better than I remember it being? Yes. I think I've only watched this movie a few times in my life. The majority of them would have been when it first came out on video. I mean, I really loved this movie as a kid. Then I may have seen it sometime when I was in college and really didn't like it. Rewatching it today, I could see that it wasn't as bad as I remember it being, but at the same time, it was still a bad movie.
Cody, I agree with you 100%. Even though it was a bad movie, it is not as bad as I remember. Which means I was able to watch it in one day. Not all at one time, but in one day.
And like I think I've already mentioned it, you could see improvements when it comes to like how this movie was done. The script, that's probably the main flaw of this movie, is the script is just really bad in it. But it seemed like the fights were better, and whenever they were producing this movie, the big thing they were going for is they wanted more fights from the last one. And they definitely improved with the number of fights and characters in here. So, let's get into the movie. So, I asked these questions last time. I'm going to ask them again. Jeremy, who's your favorite character in this one?
My favorite character, I'm going to say Jax.
Ryan, who's your favorite character?
Johnny Cage.
All 1 minute he was in the movie.
Yep.
I don't understand that. So, Johnny Cage, like I said last time, he was my favorite character in the last movie. He's only in this movie for like a minute, and then he gets killed. Shao Kahn just finishes him, snaps his neck. Like, I don't know the whole decision behind that. It definitely wasn't a casting issue because only two of the actors recused their roles, which was Kitana and Liu Kang's actors, and then the guy who played Reptile was playing Sub-Zero in this one. But yeah, for some reason they decided to kill Johnny Cage right away before he can really do anything.
Horrible idea.
Who is everybody's favorite character from the last one? Johnny Cage. All right, kill him.
My favorite character, I'm gonna go with Jeremy on this one. It was definitely Jax. He was kind of the straight man this whole thing of like, what the fuck did I get myself into? Just being sarcastic like the whole fucking movie.
It played well with how he was introduced.
All right, so we're gonna go on the reverse this time. Jeremy, who's your least favorite character?
Least favorite character. Circle back to me on that one. Give me a second to think.
Ryan,
Sindell.
is there a reason why you don't like her?
No, I just don't like her.
Say the line, Ryan.
Nope.
Say the
I'm not
line.
gonna say the line. I'm not gonna say the line.
Party pooper.
Cody, if you got your little heart set on me saying that line, then too bad. You will die.
There we go. There we go.
Oh shit, did I say the line? I thought I was just threatening you.
It was a very good thread, I can tell you. So before we circle back to Jeremy, I'm gonna have to agree with Ryan on this one. Sindell's actor, like I don't know what they were going with this, and I highly doubt she was trained in to do like martial arts, because she's like in two fights and one of them's like off screen, and like the second one, which is like the final fight, not to be confused with the video game final fight, it's just like her and Kitana kicking each other, and it rapidly cuts away.
I think she was trained on martial arts because she performed quite the brutality on that dialogue.
I know it annihilated me.
But Jeremy, did it annihilate you enough to make your worst character list?
Yeah, I was thinking between her or Shiva. I'm gonna say Kitana though, or not Kitana, Sindel. Sorry, can't talk about my girl Kitana like that.
We will talk about your girl Shiva like that. What a pointless character. Like I don't know what they were planning with. So Shiva, she comes to this movie completely menacing, and they're clearly not using a puppet like they did for Goro in the first one. She's kind of lurking around. It gets building up for something, and then, like at the end of the Baraka fight, where Liu Kang fights Baraka, he gets Katana out of her cage, and then Shiva comes in, and they just drop the cage on her and kills her. Not even a fight.
It was ridiculous.
So speaking of fights, Jeremy, favorite fight?
Favorite fight would be Liu Kang and Cyrax.
But Liu Kang didn't fight Cyrax.
He didn't fight Cyrax? What was the first fight?
Smoke versus Liu Kang. You're mixing up your
That's right.
cyborgs.
Yeah, I'm getting my cyborgs mixed up. I knew I was going to do that too. God damn it.
Cyborg racist.
What?
Oh, they all look alike?
Damn, these cyborgs all looking alike.
So here's your little fun fact. Mortal Kombat got a reputation for like reusing character sprites. In the first game you had Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and then Reptile was a hidden character. They were all the ninja characters. And then whenever you got to around to the second game, you had Kitana, Melina, and Jade. Like all the same character, just recolored. So the series had started getting a reputation for like recoloring ninja characters. So the goal of the third game was to get away from that. So instead, they just recolored cyborgs. That's partially the reason why the only game Scorpion has never been in, was the original Mortal Kombat 3. So they were axing the ninja characters. But then you get Sub-Zero without his mask on. Speaking of Sub-Zero, here's another little fun fact. In the lore of the games, Sub-Zero got the scar on down his eye from Kung Lao slashing him with his hat. Kung Lao isn't in either of these movies, so I don't know how Sub-Zero got the scar on his eye in this.
It was this plot scar.
And I forgot to mention, too, that this movie's like really weird on what it does. So, as we mentioned in our first review, the first Mortal Kombat movie, it covers the events of Mortal Kombat 1. They go and skip Mortal Kombat 2 completely, and they go straight to like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And there's also like some pieces of Mortal Kombat 4 in here. But a lot of the Mortal Kombat 4 stuff got removed in editing. That's what I read. So you get like characters like Raiden and Ermac being villains, but they weren't in any mainline game aside from Ultimate Mortal Kombat. So the more you know.
And now we know.
Knowing is half the battle. They had G.I. Joe characters in Mortal Kombat.
They do crossovers nowadays, so new Mortal Kombat's gonna have Peacemaker, Omni-Man, and Homelander in it.
Snake Eyes just got his spine ripped in half. Peacemaker's gonna be in Mortal Kombat?
Yep.
Whoa.
You have no idea how excited I am for this game.
I was excited as John Cena.
Probably not.
He probably gets royalties, so yeah.
He made it to the big time.
But anyways, back on topic. Ryan, what was your favorite fight?
Shao Kahn versus Johnny Cage.
You're taking the lazy man's approach.
No, Liu Kang versus Shao Kahn.
Really?
Yep.
What was your favorite part? The CGI Hydra versus the CGI Dragon?
Yes. It's like watching Hercules: The Legendary Journeys back when I was a kid. Like, wow, this is a movie.
It is certainly a movie of all time. As for my favorite fight, mine's going to be the Melina versus Sonya fight, since that was essentially mud wrestling.
I was gonna say because it's two hot girls.
Wrestling in the mud.
Good point. Can I change my answer? I'm just kidding. I'm sticking with it.
No, we're playing by Who Wants to Be a Millionaire rules. So you gave your final answer. The funny thing is, Jax even comes in and is like, "Whoa, you girls are wrestling in the mud."
Was he carrying a pizza? Hi, ladies. Somebody order a pizza?
With extra sausage. And once again, we got to reverse it, and then we'll move on. Jeremy, least favorite fight.
Scorpion Sub-Zero.
Ryan,
Same.
Wait, can I phone a friend?
you can phone Ryan.
Yeah, phone
Ryan?
me.
Ryan, what was your
Scorpion.
least favorite scene?
Scorpion
go
versus Sub-Zero.
All right, final answer. Scorpion versus Sub-Zero.
I'm gonna third that one. Originally, I wanted to say that was my favorite fight. It was just so weird. Scorpion suddenly reappears, even though he was killed in the last movie. He's got like 2 double CGI rope monsters now, which don't do anything. I like the whole bridge fight where him and Sub-Zero were fighting on the bridge, and then the bridge was made of ice, and it was just slowly breaking as more and more blows were being taken. But then it goes under, and it never led to anything. That was the major problem.
It easily could have been the best fight out of the entire movie. Easily. But it was the biggest letdown. And I will not forgive when Scorpion goes back to Outworld. When he yells, "Suckers!" I will not forgive that. Who wrote that in?
Same person that wrote that Sindell line.
God. The script of this movie.
It's not only that, it's like whenever he teleports away, you don't see him again. Like, that's the end of his section.
That was 100% it. And that was it for Sub-Zero, too.
Yeah, I really thought Sub-Zero was gonna become a main character in this, but they kind of just abandoned him.
Never to be seen again. Dude, I had to actually replay that scene twice because I thought Sub-Zero literally flew in. I had to go back and rewatch how bad the CGI is and see him actually his legs were holding on to his ice path or whatever. But the first time I watched it, I swear to God, I thought he just flew in. I was like, what is going on here?
We keep talking about all the negatives.
Wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, like I already said, this movie isn't the best thing in the world, no, but there's a lot of bad stuff, and you could tell they were really trying. The fights are much better, but even then, it's still got a PG rating, I think, which means no blood, no fatalities. The worst you get is 2 or 3 guys getting turned into skeletons instantly.
Nothing fun.
So I've mentioned before, they were going for more fights in this movie, and they accomplished that. The script's a little bit better, where you're not having Johnny Cage teleport to an orchard where he fights Scorpion like in the last movie. But even then, the plot is still lacking. So here's a list of fights I wrote down. First one is Shao Kahn versus Raiden. By the way, Raiden's no longer played by Christopher motherfucking Lambert.
Yeah, he got beheaded.
That's why he couldn't show up.
That leads to Johnny Cage trying to attack. At least to whenever Shao Kahn starts losing, a guy throws him a whip. He grabs Sonya. Johnny Cage tries stepping in and then gets executed. Then we move on to Smoke versus Liu Kang. Then Sub-Zero versus Scorpion. Cyrax versus Jax. There's a tiny Nightwolf versus Liu Kang fight. But it's kind of like, hey, we're sort of working on the same side, so we're not going to seriously fight. Then you get Jade versus Liu Kang. That would have taken my number 1 spot had I not thought more about the Scorpion fight. Because Jade's actress is thin as a toothpick. So I just couldn't take that fight that serious.
Right? She wasn't very menacing.
Then Melina versus Sonya. Raiden versus the reptiles. So just explaining that fight, there's a whole bunch of more reptiles that show up when Raiden just kicks their ass. Followed by Jade versus Sindell, which is off screen, and Jade takes out Sindell. They go to Outworld, then Liu Kang versus Baraka, featuring Shiva before she gets crushed. We get another Raiden versus Shao Kahn fight. Then we get all the final fights. We get Jax versus Montaro. Speaking of Montaro, I do need to say, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but early in the movie, they were trying very, very, very hard not to show Montaro's lower half.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't pay attention.
I kind of noticed it right away, and there's like one scene where you could see there's clearly a guy in a horse ass attached to the guy playing him. They don't bother using the CGI till the ending fight.
Gotta save that budget.
Other than that, you get Kitana versus Sindell, Sonya versus Ermac, and Liu Kang versus Shao Kahn. But other than the fights, plot's kind of thick. Then we continue off of the last movie where Shao Kahn decides to invade Earthrealm. Anyone familiar with Mortal Kombat 9 would know all Raiden had to say was "we surrender," and this whole ordeal would have resolved itself. But heroes are forced to retreat. We get all those fights, and we get to the ending where they go fight Shao Kahn, beat him, and we're given like a happy ending. Except for Johnny Cage, who remains dead.
Definitely didn't get a happy ending for Johnny Cage.
Yeah, the plot's kind of thin here.
Yeah, it's really not much to it. I will say, with Jax being my favorite character, he did keep me the most entertained throughout the whole movie. That for the portions he was in, he also acted as kind of like the comic relief.
Yeah, because like I said, he's kind of played as the straight man, trying to make sense of this. Like, what the hell's Outworld, or who the hell is this? It was just good script writing on his part. I think one of the big flaws with this movie is just how early it was made. Back whenever it was made, we just had basic Mortal Kombat games where the lore was not as developed. So, Jeremy, you're more familiar with the recent Mortal Kombat movies. They dive more into like lore and storytelling in those, don't they?
From what I've seen, yes, what I remember. They go into Scorpion and Sub-Zero's past quite a bit. A little bit more developed, and you'll see why.
We'll need to review that someday.
When was this movie made? Annihilation.
97, I think.
Correct, sir. 97.
So, time for another fun fact. There was supposed to be a third movie made, but this movie, it kind of bombed. Most of the bombing with it was just the reviews. It still made a profit. It made like 78 or somewhere around there million. And of course, the budget, like I already mentioned, was 30 million. So it made a profit, but with how badly reviewed this movie was, they didn't chance another one. They kind of teased for like over a decade they were going to make another one, and then we eventually got the whole remake movie. So we got saved from having to watch a third movie. Now, here's another little fun fact. We're doing all fun facts today.
I like it. Being educated.
Well, you're already familiar with this one, but after we got done recording our last episode, the three of us were talking, and 1 year after this movie came out, they started releasing a direct-to-TV series called Mortal Kombat Conquest. I went and skipped through like one episode, just jumping between things, and so Ryan kind of mentioned right away that, hey, this is kind of around the time of the Hercules TV series. I go, it did have a real Xena feel to it. That Xena Warrior Princess, not to be confused with Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. Ryan, did you get the chance to watch any of that?
No, and I deeply regret it.
Week's still young.
Yep. I'll probably watch some tonight. I'll sit on down with my popcorn, my Reese's Pieces, and my bottle of cyanide.
Sounds like a good time to me.
Make sure you savor that cyanide. But yeah, if you want to see it continued, check out the Mortal Kombat Conquest series and enjoy, because I know, because it's really fit for TV. It just has that feel to it.
I'm guessing there are no fatalities in the episode.
The only fatality would be your own for watching it.
Well, we did get fatalities in this. We got robots blowing up and off-screen neck snaps.
True, we did.
I do have to say, though, they did put more effort into the fights in this one. There was more like hitting instead of just block fighting. And we did see a lot more of characters using their special moves. I noticed that like really early in the movie that Shao Kahn was throwing his little like, energy ball. Johnny Cage, before he was killed 1 minute in, did his like flying kick.
Yeah, you can definitely feel the effort compared to the first one. It has definitely improved. You feel it.
Yeah.
I like how patronizing you were to Liu Kang. Oh, you're throwing your little energy ball.
Liu Kang didn't shoot his little energy fire thing that he normally shoots. Did Liu Kang even use any of his moves?
They showed him in the very beginning, didn't they, with fighting Shang Tsung, and he uses his like flying kicks.
Well,
Yeah,
that was the last movie because he kind of did the energy shoot at the end of Shang Tsung, and then there's like a total fan service moment where he used the bicycle kick on Reptile.
yeah.
But Liu Kang, the main character
Like,
in this
that was
movie,
it.
really didn't do anything. You're just
He really didn't.
you got Jax hitting the ground, Sonya doing her little leg grabs, but then she did that in the last movie. Baraka swinging around with his arm blades. I don't know if you noticed, but they did their best not to keep the camera on Baraka very long because his costume was so awful.
It was so bad, and you can definitely tell. You can definitely tell they were like, oh, okay, we can't show this guy too much. You're gonna see the zipper on his mask.
Time for another fun fact. So, as I mentioned in our last review, the original 3 Mortal Kombat games, they took live actors and were recording them in the costume in order to make the sprites in the game. When they created Baraka, they essentially took a ghoul Halloween mask and put like fake fingernails in it for teeth, and that's how you got Baraka.
And that's how Baraka was born.
Now, Ryan, I know you mentioned last time you kind of got motion sick with how much the cameras were jumping around. I'm guessing you got motion sick again.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Something,
A lot of cuts in this.
Yeah. So there's a lot more powerful blows in this movie, and they achieve them through like jump cuts. That's why I think the fighting's like way better in this movie. The redeeming quality of this movie. I do have to say, there's probably if you got epilepsy, this probably isn't the movie for you because there are some flashing lights in this movie.
Might be your last.
You don't want to die and go to heaven and tell them, oh yeah, I died watching Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
And then you could say it was true. Annihilated while watching Annihilation.
All right, Jeremy, final thoughts?
Final thoughts? Well, you have to see it. I would tag it as so bad it's good enough to watch once.
Fair enough. Ryan, final thoughts?
My 15-year-old self was glad he saw it in the theater.
What about your middle-aged self?
Sure. Actually, it wasn't that bad. It's fun. It's a fun movie.
But is it Tairimo Boy certified fun?
It's a fun movie.
He's not willing to slap the official label on it.
Not getting a stamp from Ryan today.
Yeah, so I'm going to echo these guys' thoughts. As a kid, I love this movie. I don't know about kids nowadays. They got Power Rangers and Fortnite. Power Rangers even relevant anymore. But if you watch the first movie and you got some time, go ahead and watch this. You're probably not going to want to watch it again. There was effort put into it. It's not like some people think where it was just a complete shit show. But even then, it's not the greatest movie in the movie, but it's okay. Maybe something to have on for background noise.
Certainly not the worst movie out there.
But it will be the worst movie on our scale.
Yep, absolutely.
So, continue from last time. Jeremy, on a scale of Super Mario Brothers movie to Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where would you place this?
Oh, Annihilation for sure.
What about you, Ryan?
Ernest Goes to Africa. I'm going to go with Annihilation.
Taking the safe route. I like that.
That's me. No risk-taking behavior whatsoever. Ladies.
All right. So, thank you for tuning in for another Tairimo Boys episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, watch the movie, even though you're probably going to hate it. And don't forget to ring that motherfucking bell. Stay tuned for more episodes.